Hello everybody, and welcome to yet another video blog by yours truly. This one's about 2 weeks late actually, because I was going to do my predictions for both the NFL season and actually some NCAA predictions as well. Things kind of jumped in the way and I wasn't able to get it done and put up when I was going to initially. So for my initial idea, I'm kind of scaling it down a little bit, what I was going to do, and it won't be quite as detailed as I initially had thought it was going to be. As I'm shooting this, we're I don't know, a few hours removed from the end of the first day of the NFL regular season. Keep in mind that these things I jotted down as predictions were done a couple of weeks in advance, so really, based on what I saw today, they look like fairly decent predictions. So, and that goes with having 2 weeks of college football already in the books as well too. So, this is what we're going to do here. I'm going to start off with my NFL stuff here, and you'll also find this below the video down in the description. I'll have everything down in there as far as these predictions that I am talking about. Also with the Facebook post on my Facebook page, it'll be in the it'll be with the link as well. So that way you can physically see it as well as hearing me say it. As far as the NFL, 6 teams for the playoffs. Of course, each conference has 6 teams going into the playoffs. This is my seeding predictions, 1 through 6 of how I believe the AFC playoffs will be. 1 through 6, top seed being Denver. No arguments as to why on that one. Clearly the best team in the AFC, whether I like it or not right now, irregardless of what they did earlier tonight. Second seed I predicted is New England, and I'm going to touch on that here in a second. 3, Indianapolis. 4, Cincinnati as your division winners in the AFC. Denver, New England, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, your division winners. Wild cards, San Diego and Miami is what I kind of was leaning towards as the season started. Just real quick, I went back on New England there a second ago. I have them as my second seed and a bye as my prediction of playoffs. And earlier today, they lost their season opener to Miami, which I thought was very interesting. So we'll have to see how that pans out. NFC predictions: division champions seeds 1 through 4. Seattle 1, Green Bay 2, Carolina 3, Philadelphia Eagles number 4. Wild cards: San Francisco and the New Orleans Saints. That being said, my prediction for the AFC Championship game will be the Denver Broncos taking on the Indianapolis Colts. And if that goes anything based on what I saw earlier this evening, that's going to be a fantastic football game. Prediction for the NFC Championship game: Seattle Seahawks versus the Carolina Panthers. And out of those 2 games, my prediction is you will see the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. And my prediction is that the Seattle Seahawks will repeat as the Super Bowl champions in Super Bowl 49 in Glendale, Arizona on, I believe it to be February the 8th, if I'm not mistaken, but don't hold me to that. So those are my NFL predictions, again, below in the description as well as with my Facebook post with this video. NCAA, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm a Big 12 guy, have been from day one. So I'm going to give you my Big 12 predictions in order of who I think is going to finish where. And then I will also talk about the 4-team playoff that is starting this year as well. Big 12, this is how I figured this is going to pan out. And these are my predictions, which I did about mid-August, shortly after the initial rankings came out. And this is how I thought it was going to pan out. Predicting that the Oklahoma Sooners will win the Big 12 championship. They will finish first in the conference, followed by Baylor, Oklahoma State, the Mountaineers of West Virginia, Kansas State, Texas, Texas Tech, Iowa State, TCU, and Kansas, the Jayhawks, at the bottom of the division. Out of that, I can see both Oklahoma and Baylor getting good bowl games, and that brings me to the playoff, the 4-team playoff to determine the national champion this year. I'm going to go with Florida State being number 1. Oklahoma number 2, Oregon number 3, Auburn number 4. Out of those 4 teams, I'm going to predict Oregon, the Ducks, to defeat Florida State in an upset for the national championship. Some will label that as an upset. It'll be a good battle of quarterbacks between Marcus Mariota and the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Jameis Winston. And with the Ducks winning the national championship, in my prediction, I will also predict that their quarterback, Marcus Mariota, wins the Heisman Trophy. And that'll also will be in the description below with this video, as well as in the Facebook post. There you have my predictions for both the NFL and NCAA for 2014 season. To go a little bit further on that, of course, you see the shirt I'm wearing. Everybody knows I'm a Chiefs fan. I had some high hopes for them coming into this season, and unfortunately I don't believe that they're going to find a playoff spot this year. And I say that, I really don't want to say that. I realize they've played one game of this regular season, but the injuries, any team you can have a football team loaded at every position, but when the injuries start piling up, especially if they're not good injuries, they're long-term kind of thing as far as being out, it's going to have effects on the football team. And in today's game against Tennessee, the Chiefs lost not one but two linebackers to Achilles injuries, and those are generally long-term injuries. And one of those linebackers is Derek Johnson, who's been largely the defensive team leader. And that's definitely going to hurt them in the long run, particularly this next week when they travel to Denver to play the Broncos. I'm hoping they'll pull some wins out of this. This clearly has a different vibe to it than the 9-0 start last year. Clearly, I would love to see them in the postseason, but in all honesty, for as long as it's been since they've won a playoff game, I would really prefer to see them go into a playoff situation healthy as opposed to not healthy. If they can somehow muster enough wins to actually get in the playoffs and be healthy, then that's a different story. But even mid-August, when I made these predictions, I didn't quite have them as a wild card at that point based upon offensive line and defensive secondary issues then. These predictions were basically made upon, what happened last year, but I looked at a lot of things, roster changes, free agency moves, whether the teams are healthy, you have to look at suspensions, that kind of thing. And that's what I looked at when I put all this together. Same can be said for the NCAA, in June, if I would have done, say, the Big 12 predictions, I probably would have had my Texas Longhorns higher than 6th. I had them 6th in the conference. If I'd have done this in June, I probably would have had them closer to 3rd. But when you have a head coach that's dismissing and suspending so many players, particularly at skilled positions, that changes your way of thinking. So, this is why I generally hold off on my predictions till, mid to late August normally. Usually I don't do it before the 7th or 8th of September, but I put a lot into this kind of thing. Obviously, last year my Super Bowl prediction was way off the line, as opposed to the year before when I had it correctly predicted right down to the winner. I should have put money on that. Anyway, those are my football predictions and thoughts for right now. As I'm doing my personal blogs, as the year progresses, I may do some football ones here and there. Not really for certain. I can tell you this week, just kind of, and one thing I do with the NFL season, something I've done since I was in high school for a number of years now, is I like to do week-to-week picks on who I think is going to win each NFL game. At this point, we have played 14 games this week going back to Thursday, and the 12 games that were played today. My predictions, or my picks I should say, right now, I have won 10 and lost 4 games today. The 4 I lost, Tennessee over Kansas City, Atlanta over New Orleans, Cincinnati over Baltimore, and Houston. Oh, no, not Houston. I won that one. It was Miami over New England, actually. I had New England that game. So 10 and 4, as I correctly predicted, victories by Seattle, Buffalo, Houston, Miami, the Jets, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, San Francisco, Carolina, and Denver. So 10 and 4, which, if I can look back here to last season, give me just a second here. 2013, I had a 9-7 week to start the 2013 season, so already guaranteed a better start than last year, which is what I'm trying to do. Overall, I ended the year last year out of, goodness gracious, 267 games played, including the postseason. I correctly predicted 166 and lost 101. That included the postseason, which I was 7-4 in the postseason with those picks. and 159 wins, 97 losses through 17 weeks of the regular season. So the goal is 160 regular season wins this week, off to a good start, or this year I should say, off to a good start, 10-4. Monday night, tomorrow night, I have Detroit over the Giants and the Arizona Cardinals over the San Diego Chargers. So we'll see how the rest of this week pans out. And I may not do these blogs week to week with those kind of predictions, just kind of give you an idea what I do for a little bit of fun as the season goes on. So that's how that rolls. Unfortunately, I didn't get into fantasy football this year like I was hoping to do again, just simply not time for it. And those of you that are familiar with, me, know that I've got quite a bit going on outside of my normal paid job. I also have, the Salina Scoop and things like that, the North Central Kansas weather information page and whatnot. A lot of things going on with Facebook. I started a new Saline County High School football coverage page, which after 1 week of high school football, I realized that's going to be a lot of work to keep going as the season goes on. But fortunately, high school football is only 3 months long, thankfully. That being said, being this is a football post, I will tell you that the normal Salina Scoop video blog, as far as the sports that I have been doing with Mr. Wisdom for the past couple of weeks. We had originally planned to do one Sunday. That has been postponed to Thursday the 11th, a few days from now, presuming I get this video uploaded sometime on Monday. Truth be told, with my work schedule and things going on tomorrow, it may be close to 24 hours from now before this video you're seeing it was actually uploaded from the time it was shot. It's just a little bit after midnight Monday morning on the 8th of September right now. So that being said, I'm going to close this blog because the more I talk, the more I'm going to end up rambling about things. You have my predictions for the year for the NFL and NCAA college football. As always, feel free to comment here on the YouTube page and also with the post on Facebook. I would love to see everybody else's predictions. I absolutely love to see how close I get at the end of the year. That whole Baltimore-San Francisco thing a couple of years ago, the fact that I predicted that right at the beginning of the year floored me. I had never, ever correctly predicted the matchup and the winner before. I've had the winner a couple of times, and I think the matchup a couple of times, but never have I had the winner in the matchup except for that one time. I think last year, which was Seattle defeating Denver in the Super Bowl, if I remember correctly, I think I had Houston. No, I had Houston in the Super Bowl last year, and I think I had them losing to San Francisco, but don't hold me to that. I'd have to look it up. I know it was off. I was horridly off last year, and a lot of people thought Houston was a Super Bowl contender last year, and they completely disintegrated, which does tend to happen occasionally. So, I think that about finally covers everything for this personal log update for what is now September the 8th, 2014. And hopefully it won't be too terribly long before I get another one going up. Perhaps this coming weekend. I know there's some non-sports related stuff that I want to get up as time goes on. I really don't remember offhand if I've done a personal one, as far as I try to do them occasionally, let you know where my life is at a given time. I don't think since I've had a job change. I'm not at Russell Stover's anymore, and I can't think off the top of my head now if I've done a blog post to that effect. But I won't do that here. We'll save that for another time. And that's going to be it for now. Until next time, we shall see you later. And thanks for stopping by. Keep coming by. And take care, everybody.